Imagine a quiet suburban street at dusk, porch lights flickering on one by one, the distant hum of lawn sprinklers, children's bicycles resting against driveways, and the comforting belief that nothing truly bad happens here, because suburbia has long been sold as the reward for stability, a place of safety, routine, and predictability. Yet, what if that sense of security is only a carefully maintained illusion, a thin veil stretched over something far more unsettling? Tonight, we ask a question that may change how you see your own neighborhood forever. What if the scariest encounters don't happen in abandoned buildings or remote forests, but inside familiar homes with freshly painted walls and trimmed hedges? Welcome to the channel where we explore true, unexplained encounters and unsettling realities that defy easy answers. And before we continue, take a moment to subscribe and enable notifications, because the stories we share don't rely on legends or exaggeration. They come from real people, in real places, who never expected their quiet streets to become sources of unease. Suburbia thrives on patterns, morning routines, friendly waves, predictable silence at night. But when something breaks that pattern, even briefly, it creates a uniquely powerful fear. Because it doesn't feel like entering danger, it feels like danger entering you. These are not tales of imagination, but reports from homeowners, families, and neighbors who began noticing small disruptions, sounds without sources, movements without explanation, and an ever-growing feeling that something was watching from just outside the frame of normal life. And as we begin pulling back the layers of suburban normalcy, remember this: the places we trust the most are often the ones we question the least. Suburban neighborhoods are rarely silent, yet they are known for familiar sounds. Distant traffic, barking dogs, sprinklers clicking on at dawn. So when residents begin hearing whispers that don't belong, the effect is deeply unsettling. Homeowners across different regions have reported faint voices drifting through their yards late at night, voices too clear to be wind and too close to be neighbors. Some describe hearing their names spoken softly from behind hedges or near fences, while others recall unintelligible murmurs that stopped the moment they stepped outside. What makes these encounters disturbing is not volume, but intention. The sense that the sound is meant for someone specifically. In several documented accounts, families initially dismissed the noises as nearby conversations, only to discover no one else was awake, children asleep, neighbors indoors, and the street completely still. Others reported animal-like vocalizations that didn't match any known wildlife, echoing briefly before fading into silence. Psychologists note that the human brain is wired to recognize voices, even in ambiguous sound patterns. Yet this explanation falters when multiple individuals hear the same thing independently, often describing identical tones, pacing, and locations. Some residents began avoiding their own yards after dark, while others installed cameras that captured nothing unusual, deepening the unease. Because the absence of evidence did not bring comfort, it removed certainty, and in environments designed to feel controlled and orderly, unexplained sounds carry an emotional weight far heavier than in chaotic settings, turning manicured lawns into spaces of quiet dread, where every rustle feels deliberate and every silence feels watchful. If unexplained sounds unsettle the mind, unexplained sights challenge reality itself, and in suburbia, visual disturbances are often brief, subtle, and icily dismissed, which makes them even more powerful. Residents report seeing shadow-like figures crossing hallways, passing kitchen doorways, or standing momentarily in backyards before vanishing. These figures are rarely detailed, described instead as darker than dark silhouettes, just solid enough to notice but never long enough to study, often appearing in peripheral vision, a phenomenon sometimes attributed to eye strain or fatigue. Yet many witnesses insist the encounters occurred during ordinary moments, while cooking, doing laundry, or looking out a window in full daylight. Some describe repeated sightings following predictable paths, as if something were moving through the house according to its own routine. Others recall seeing figures reflected briefly in glass doors or windows, only to find empty rooms upon turning around. The psychological impact of these moments is profound, because they force individuals to question their perception in places where they should feel most grounded. Several people reported checking carbon monoxide levels, sleep schedules, and mental health evaluations, desperate for reassurance, yet finding none that fully explained the experiences. And when multiple members of the same household witness the same fleeting movements independently, doubt gives way to fear, not of danger, but of the unknown presence sharing their space, unnoticed, unacknowledged, and impossible to confront. Beyond sounds and shadows, some suburban encounters are defined by subtle shifts in the environment itself. Moments when something familiar feels irreversibly wrong. Residents describe returning home to find objects slightly out of place, doors unlocked that were always secured, lights turned off in rooms no one entered, or entire spaces feeling colder, heavier, and unwelcoming without physical cause. These changes are rarely dramatic, which makes them more disturbing, because they resist clear explanation while accumulating over time, creating a slow erosion of comfort. Some families reported rooms their children refused to enter, claiming they felt watched or uncomfortable, without being able to explain why. Others describe sudden emotional responses tied to specific areas of the house, anxiety without trigger, sadness without reason, or the instinctual urge to leave immediately. Environmental psychologists suggest that human perception is highly sensitive to minor inconsistencies, yet this does not explain why such feelings are often shared among different occupants, even guests unfamiliar with the home. These experiences place residents in a state of constant low-level alertness, where safety feels conditional and temporary, transforming familiar spaces into uncanny versions of themselves. And when the place meant to shelter you begins to feel unpredictable, the sense of vulnerability cuts deeper than any external threat ever could. As we step back and examine these unsettling suburban encounters together, a pattern emerges, not of chaos, but of quiet disruption moments that do not announce themselves loudly, but linger just long enough to leave doubt behind, whether interpreted through psychology, environmental factors, or theories ranging from residual energy to realities intersecting in subtle ways. These experiences challenge the assumption that normal surroundings are immune to the unknown. Perhaps suburbia's greatest vulnerability lies in its predictability, because when something breaks the pattern, it feels deeply personal, as if reality itself has made a mistake or revealed something it was never meant to show. Now we turn the question to you. Have you ever experienced something unexplainable in your own neighborhood? A sound, a sight, or a feeling that refused to make sense? Share your experience in the comments, because the more these stories are told, the clearer the patterns may become. And if this exploration made you reconsider the quiet streets outside your door, make sure you're subscribed, because the shadows we've uncovered tonight are not rare. They're simply overlooked, and suburbia may be far less ordinary than it appears.